So we've gone through and chopped up some of these vocal takes. Again, not using a ton of the stuff here. I have saved a couple of these alternate takes. I might grab a few more, because what I'm about to do is pop out some of these last couple tracks, and then I'm gonna bounce my selected final vocal takes down to a single track and a single take. So I just want to make sure that usually when you do that, if you it gives you an option to replace all the lanes, so that you end up with just kind of one nice track to work with rather than all this other stuff. So maybe before I do that, we'll listen through everything and just see how it flows. So again, like I said, you can see here kind of minimal backing vocals in the earlier parts, and as we get further along in the song, the backing vocals come in a little more strongly and line up with the lead vocals. We even got a few kind of long held notes here, about four bars of that at the very end of the song, and then things kind of taper down. So we'll give this a listen. Make sure that you're happy with everything you're hearing before you commit to deleting all these other takes and bouncing it down to a single file. And we'll give it a listen and see how it feels. Hasn't been tuned yet.
I woke up late this morning just to find you by my side, and my whole world moves in slow motion.
I might keep that.
And my whole world moves in slow motion as I feel you deep inside of my soul. Of my soul. Of my.
Oh, our loop got engaged there again.
Of my soul. Of my soul. Oh, oh. Of my soul. So I'll just stay and lay here and feel your warm breath on me. See your sweet sleeping smile, and knowing it's all I need. And I know and I know and I know, oh, oh, and I know. Looking forward to tomorrow, when I find you just the same. My sleeping Cinderella, take my breath away, take it away. 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 Oh, take it away. Oh, take it away.
Cool. So I think that is pretty much done. I did add one little alternate take here that I still need to clean up, so I'll just do some time shifting on that one. Slide that into place here. I think that might be okay. Let's give it a quick listen. Ooh.
Deep inside.
There we go. All right, a little bit more trimming here. And then before you print all of these, it's important to do your crossfades at the beginning and end of each of them, so that you don't have any weird kind of pops or breaths or anything kind of showing up in your take. You can see this kind of like breathy stuff here. You know, you'll want your crossfade to kind of eliminate some of that for you if you can. And then you can delete the ones that you aren't using. You can also grab these and kind of do those crossfades all at once. Saves a bit of time doing versus doing them sort of all individually like I was doing before. So these two can be done. Flip back a bit. Don't need this. Again, bringing it up so we're taking the breaths out. So those are all cross-faded and faded in and faded out the way they need to be. Got some automation written on here for some reason. I think that was from an earlier mix of this song. But okay, so now we'll do a quick save here. I'm just going to do a new version of this. I'm going to save as and call it Mix 1 Vocal Comp. Because after I print these files, it's gonna eliminate all these other layers in here. So there's no going back unless you've done a save right before you do this. So it's always good to do that so you don't have it. The other files they still exist, but finding them and lining them back up again after you print this bounce is going to be a huge pain in the butt. And the reason I'm printing it is because when I go to do vocal tuning, it tends to not really like tuning these little chunks of files. The tuning software, at least the one that I'm going to be using here for this demonstration, tends to be a little bit more appreciative when you have just a single file that you're tuning. So to do that, you go to Audio and Bounce Selection. And it's going to say, do you want to replace the event? So you can say no here, and it'll just create those files in the project pool. But if you hit replace, it'll drop them in right kind of where they were originally. So that looks pretty good. So the next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to plug in your vocal tuning program. So I use one called Waves Tunes. It's under the plugin menu under Vocals. And I have a couple different versions. I'm going to use the main one in mono. Also, our tuning reference is 432 Hertz, so I'm going to make sure to change that as well. And it looks like I have an old version of this in here. want a new one. And usually I put my tuning in at the very beginning of the chain on your plugin chain here, just so that it's not affected by any other sounds. This way it's tuning just that raw signal. That raw signal of the vocal is coming in, and it's making its tuning calculations on that basis. So you put one plug-in on each track. Make sure that your reference tuning is set. You can change the key if you know the key of the song. I'm not actually sure what this one is offhand, so I'm just going to leave it at C. And usually that if you have it as a chromatic scale, it'll figure everything out for you pretty good. I generally just use these initial settings to start with. And before you can actually tune anything, this tuning plugin needs to scan the vocals. So I'm just going to run, play through the song once, starting where the vocals start, and you'll see that it's gonna pull all that information in and start figuring out what the pitch of every individual note is.
I woke up late this morning just to find you by my side, and my whole world moves in slow motion as I feel you deep inside of my soul. Of my soul. Of my soul. Oh.
There we go. It's all scanned up. So the next step is usually I'll start by tuning the lead vocal. So we'll just mute my vocals there. And we'll zoom in on the leads. Pop open our tuning plugin and show you guys how this works. So run it back to the start.
I woke up late this morning.
So what you want to do is be listening for what notes the vocals should be. So you got to kind of have an idea of it. So let's give it a listen again.
I woke up late.
So late should be here. Woke up late. So he's a little off on that start of the note. One other thing I find is you get these little kind of beginning of the word pieces on some of these vocal tunings. So even though this one's up here, I wouldn't change that because it'll have weird kind of artifact effects on the vocal. I'll show you how it sounds.
I woke up late.
So if I move that down,
I woke up late.
doesn't have too much of a noticeable effect on that one in particular, but usually if you leave these little ones alone, it's kind of a better option. So there's some cool things you can do with this. Sometimes you can sort of move the slider between notes to blend them a little bit better. The other way you can do that is to play with the note transition value, which really for me, I find it's all about just trying to find the note transitions that feel natural. So let's just see how that one sounds.
I woke up late this morning. Woke up late this morning.
Oh, down one more. So that one's got to be there. And that one he was pretty bang on.
Late this morning. Just to find you by my side.
Find you by. So that one's got to come up. By my side. So that one was close, but there we go.
Find you by my side.
There we go. My whole world.
And my whole world
It's a little low on that one. So you can kind of double click on the note that you want to move things to once you've selected. That's another kind of helpful feature.
Slow mo, and my whole world moves in slow mo.
Slow motion. Oh. Slow motion. So these ones are a little high.
And my whole world moves in slow motion.
There we go.
As I feel you deep inside.
As I feel. So those all kind of need to be on this note.
As I feel you deep inside.
So that's good.
Side
There we go.
of my soul.
So that one's got to come up. Really, this is just the process. My soul. It helps if you can sing a little bit, and kind of find the notes yourself. But kind of clicking around on these notes, you got to have a bit of an ear to do vocal tuning. That's sort of a given. But this is essentially the process. You just kind of go through, you check every note, and make sure that it's the pitch is on key. So we'll keep going here a little bit.
Of my soul. Of my soul.
Of my soul. Yep, that's good.
Of my soul.
I think that one's a little low.
Soul.
Those ones look like they're in the right spot. The other thing is too, you don't need to always have the note transition so that everything's nice and flat. It kind of takes out some of the natural. If you flatten that out like that, I'll show you what that sounds like.
Of my soul.
Just kind of deadens it a bit, so you can undo that move, and it'll have a little more of that natural kind of vibrato and fluctuation.
Of my soul. Oh. Oh.
And when you have these kind of vibratos, when you grab all those notes and you double click on a main note, it keeps the vibrato, but it centers it around the note that of your choice, I suppose, or the note that in theory you're supposed to be hitting.
Of my soul. Oh.
So I think I got to bring that back up actually.
My soul. Oh. Oh. Of my soul.
So that's a little high.
Oh. Of my soul.
So I think my backing vocal harmony is off a little bit there. Or actually, sorry, I've got Cody's double there, so I'll just mute that for now. Probably not going to use those. So let's check the backing vocal harmony as well.
Of my soul.
Cool. So those ones are pretty tight.
Oh. Oh. Oh, my soul.
Cool. So yeah, that's essentially the process. So I mean, it'll take me probably half an hour to go through all of these and tune them all up. But by the end of it, everything's going to be sounding nice and tight and locked in for pitch. And And I mean, as you saw, it's not a super challenging process to nail those down. I mean, you know, we were pretty close on a lot of the notes, and sometimes the vocal tuning, you know, this auto tuning process where you scan it, like it'll try to correct stuff that's close on its own, but sometimes it'll miss. It'll usually just correct it to whatever the closest note it is that you sang, which isn't necessarily the right note. And sometimes it'll correct it to the wrong note, so then when you're playing it back, you'll be like, oh wow, that sounds completely whack. So you'll need to go in and really individually check every single one of these notes in the vocal performance and tune them up like that. But at the end of it, you'll have a nice locked in vocal performance, and you'll be ready to dig into the mix. So that's about it for this one. If you're going to check out the mixing class that goes with this song as well, you'll be able to hear the finished tuned vocals. I'm gonna start that mix with all this the rest of this stuff complete. And thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned some stuff, and we'll talk to you soon.